what is this big hiring push that OpenAI is on specifically this time?
OpenAI has been on a push to hire hundreds of what they call our forward deployment engineers. Essentially, these engineers are embedded technical staff that sit alongside large enterprise customers to ensure that when you're deploying an AI product, whether that's, for example, an AI agent, which OpenAI launched its Frontier platform this morning, or other fine-tune models based on its API models, it could actually support to ensure that these customers are using AI correctly.
Now, forward deployed engineers. I was just at a dinner last night, and I asked the group the question. I said, "Aren't these just consultants?" I mean, like it's a fancy term. It's the people that go in and help you implement the software that you've bought, help you integrate it into your systems. Is that just what it is, really?
What it is essentially is it is consulting in a way, that, especially in that it is very services oriented. It takes a lot of sort of like hand holding of the customer to ensure that the AI is correctly being deployed. What I would distinguish of like just a general consultant, for example, from Bain or BCG, is that a forward deployed engineer has very specific AI technical expertise, and so they're the expert on OpenAI's products. Can ensure that, for example, that a customer knows how to use this API correctly and fine tune the models to their data. So they're the technical folks. But then OpenAI is also partnering with traditional consultants like those from BCG, Accenture, et cetera, to be able to actually provide the industry expertise that one might need to be able to go into these customers. And so this forward deployed engineering model has actually been pioneered by Palantir, which obviously had earnings earlier this week. It has done fairly well. So I think it's a model that AI companies are now starting to realize that they actually need people to help sell and ensure it gets into customers' hands versus just sort of expecting it to be purchased right off on their own, and customers can like know how to do it right away on their own.
Now, this appears to be a pretty important push for OpenAI in its rivalry against Anthropic. We, of course, saw the ads that came out, which is not necessarily focused on the enterprise push, but the ads have very much declared war. Anthropic has said, "Look, whether it's enterprise or consumer, we are coming for your lunch." But on the enterprise side, I mean, Anthropic is very much seen as a leader, even though you and I have talked about how OpenAI's enterprise business on an aggregate basis is still larger. Can you talk a little bit about how important it is for OpenAI to get this enterprise approach right?
It's quite important, especially I believe, to investors and public market investors and those that are excited about OpenAI eventually going public. I think it's a narrative that really shows the stickiness of revenue, especially since enterprise customers are going to, for example, land with OpenAI and then potentially stay for a long time. And so OpenAI has shown signs that it can do that. It has, for example, about 7 customers that are paying multi-year deals worth at least 100 million, and then 6 that are in the 75 million plus bucket as well. And so when you sort of show that type of traction, you give investors confidence that this is a company that can be long lasting rather than just fickle customers maybe like leaving. And so I think this enterprise story is quite important. I think that's why they are making hundreds of hires in this forward deployed engineering category, because they realize that it's not just going to sell off the shelves on its own. And then also with the agent deployment platform that they launched this morning, it's kind of like pointed to what we had already reported a few weeks ago with Kevin, is around that this is a push that they're really actively taking towards to ensure that AI is actually meeting customers' needs.
Great. Well, Shri, I want to thank you for coming on. That is Shri Muppidi, our OpenAI and Anthropic reporter here at The Information.